hit hard, makes us all believe. Sits in his room with bottles lined up tall. Camera rolling, capturing it all. Swirling amber like liquid fire. With each sip takes us higher and higher. Whiskey Bill tells no lies. In his glasses, truth lies. From the peat to the rye, he's the reason we comply. Smoky flavor burning like it's real. Every word he says, we feel. Earning trust, sip by sip. In Whiskey Bill, we're equipped. Honing notes with the wizard's flair. Tasting dreams with a knowing stare. No fancy talk or polished lines. Just raw truth and tangled vines. Whiskey Bill tells no lies. In his glasses, truth lies. From the peat to the rye, he's the reason we comply. Smoky flavor burning like it's real. Every walk is real and all is real. Every word he says, we feel. Word he says, we feel. Earning trust, sip by sip. In Whiskey Bill, we're equipped. Honing notes with the wizard's flair. Tasting dreams with the knowing stare. No fancy talk or polished lines. Just raw truth and tangled vines. Whiskey Bill tells no lies. In his glasses, truth lies. From the peat to the rye, he's the reason we comply. Reason we comply. He's the reason we comply.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary. So, I hope you all enjoyed that theme song. I've got a fun episode tonight, as always. We are going to be drinking some, to put it in Spencer's words, some niche whiskeys. But in what I'm kind of leaning towards here, these are things I've just been putting off doing reviews or even just having for a while, and for a number of different reasons that I'll kind of talk about when I get to each whiskey. But let me tell you what I'm going to be reviewing. Most of these you probably have never heard of, and that's part of the reason. So, but I do want to say hi to a few people here. So a few people who were kind of here right at the very beginning. We have Tater Dom, which is a wonderful name. Spencer, David, nice to see you. Sugar Kitty, nice to see you. And then Cool Running, Alex, of course, Alex is here. I appreciate that. And Mike Miser, Jimmy Jazz, nice to see you guys. All right. So as always, I kind of like to just dive right into the first whiskey first, even before we really talk about a whole lot of stuff. So I guess let me tell you about the 6 different whiskeys I'm going to be drinking tonight. As I mentioned, you might not have heard of many of them. And then I'll pour one, we'll talk about it, etc., etc. Let me know, as always, in the chat what you guys are going to be drinking along with me tonight, because it's always fun to see. One of the first whiskeys, man, the lighting is a little brutal on that. It's Bear Fight. This is by a who makes this one? It was a weird one because it had like 2 different makers. I guess they're just going to go by Bear Fight, but it's backed by a couple of celebrities, which we'll talk about. So Bear Fight, it's a Kentucky Reserve finished in Reposado tequila barrels. So kind of cool. And then we have Fraser and Thompson, which is going to be, this is an interesting one. It's Canadian and Kentucky, I think. And this is a Michael Bublé whiskey. You're going to notice a theme, I guess just in those 2, of celebrity whiskeys maybe never getting the attention that they wanted. Then we have Leaper's Fork, and this is a Tennessee whiskey. This one I was actually interested to try because it's really any Tennessee whiskey that is legitimately a Tennessee whiskey not just maybe sourced from Tennessee or something, that is trying to compete with the big guys. I like the idea. So also, you know, the category of Tennessee whiskey really could use some more entries, I think. Then we have Adnams Southwold. This is a whiskey from England, which is a very heavily rye-based whiskey, I believe. I have all the metrics. We'll go over them when we actually drink them. Now, this one is one that viewer here, this is Keeper's Heart. This is from a viewer, Steve. All of you know Steve. He's the Steve that you would see in the chats. This is an Irish and American whiskey called Keeper's Heart. Then we have Floki, which I realized while I was doing my research, I have drank this on a stream before, but it was probably like 2023 or something. It's been a while. It's not the one that's smoked with sheep dung, but it is Icelandic and it is something very unique. So worth doing on the channel today. All right. So let's hop in the chat real quick. See what you guys are drinking with me. Let's see. Spencer is going to be going for some of his Cabernet finished cut spike American single malt. Interesting. Local to me, but not sure they're available a ton of places besides here. Plus, their finishing is heavy, fits the criteria. Sugar Kitty says, oh, sheep crap. Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that one, Spencer. I shouldn't call you Spence. I have no idea if that's what you like. But, I don't know. I'm sure you've been called worse. Okay. Which one should I start with? I'm thinking, actually, so just in case anybody is interested, I found this new little feature here, and you'll see it pop up in your chat right now. There's a goal here, because I know you guys love to torture me. There's a goal to make me drink Johnny Walker. So I have it off camera right here. It could happen with your prompting. All right. So I am going to be reading fairly heavily from notes because trying to remember 5 or 6 different whiskeys and all of the nuances of their ABVs and whatever else, it's not a thing that a human brain should be able to do. Especially not if it's not something that you drink frequently. So I'm going to start off. I don't want to start with the Floki because the Floki is a fairly heavy flavor. I'm probably going to have that one towards the end. I think I'm actually going to start off with the Bear Fight. And the reason I'm going to do that is I think the Reposado tequila is something that would be kind of lost if I were to have a few drinks. So, well, I haven't seen any, so that limits the reasons you haven't heard of it. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. So now this is one that I was actually looking forward to reviewing. So this is from Seth MacFarlane and Gabriel. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm guessing it's Macht, M-A-C-H-T. He played Harvey Spencer on Suits. The two of them got involved with this Bear Fight distillery. And then when Seth MacFarlane really got involved with it, like it started making a lot of headlines, you know, Seth MacFarlane backs a whiskey or whatever. Now, I'm going to play something for you guys because I just think it's awesome. I recently finished watching The Orville. Now, The Orville is a kind of space sci-fi, and I was blown away by this. Look at this. Like, that was a TV show. You know, it's crazy to me how, like, it reminds me of Stargate Galaxy a little bit, or Stargate Universe, I think it was. Yeah, Stargate Universe. I couldn't believe how good The Orville was. I actually really, really liked it. But the whole time I was watching it, I was like, every now and then I would sip this one, or I would think about it anyway. I'm like, oh, I really got to get to that Bear Fight. Why it's called Bear Fight, I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure it had something on their website about it. Anyway, let's see. Sorry, apologies for the Buddhism. Oh, yeah. I'm just checking out the thing. Whoa, loud Bill and disappeared. What just happened? I got loud when it... Oh, did you guys not see the video? You should have seen... Yeah, whatever. Thanks, Lost Cause. That's a interesting looking hippo sticker. What is he doing? It's like, hey guys, look at me. No, I know totally what he's doing. All right, anyway. Okay, so this is a 45% 70 corn, 21 rye, 9% malted barley. It is a Kentucky straight bourbon, finished in Reposado tequila barrels. Okay, so let's just go ahead and try this one out. All right. So I'm not really I'm not really smelling much tequila, which I sure you all would agree. Typically when you finish something in some sort of barrel, it's mostly going to be on the nose, maybe some on the taste, but interesting. It's like, I would never tell you that that had anything to do with tequila. Maybe after a little while, I don't know. It's interesting. I guess what I'm getting here is a lot of kind of vanilla, almost like watered down caramel, little ocean spray, which must be the tequila, only because why else would that be in Kentucky? Anything? You'll have to forgive me. I have a little bit of cold, so if I cough, I'll try to do it off mic. All right, let's go ahead and have a taste. Cheers. Interesting. That almost went down the wrong pipe. You guys almost watched me cough for about 5 minutes. So the obvious thing here is it tastes a lot like kind of just cheap caramel. Trying to compare it to something like, when I think of cheap caramel, I'm thinking of like those little, I always forget what they're called, like bullseye looking things, like they're caramel with like the little white thing in the middle of it, because the caramel tastes like crap on those, at least to me. That's kind of this. It's like a really fake caramel flavor. I will say the rye does come across a little bit in the finish, but again, it's a very generic flavor. There's like nothing that's popping that's saying, oh, it's apples, oh, it's this, whatever. It's like, I taste like caramel because I'm bourbon. I taste like rye because there's rye in here. I smell a little bit like ocean for reasons because maybe tequila. I will say, actually, after talking for a second, letting the air kind of pass over my tongue, I'm seeing a little bit of the tequila in the finish, in that if I had a shot of tequila, that's what it tastes like when you exhale right before you go like that. So let's see. Kitty, I totally get that too. Might switch over. My wife just microwaved oh man, microwaving broccoli. It's just like, it smells like farts. I had broccoli last night and I was just like, oh man, it smells like farts. All right, let's see. Oh, thanks, Alex. Really appreciate that. Happy New Year to you as well. All right, so we're already 2/3 of the way, or 2/5 of the way to drinking Johnny Walker. All right, so just checking out the chat. Let's see. I took a little bit of information about this, but really there wasn't much. Their website was actually very bare. I didn't do that on purpose, but I guess I don't regret it. Their website did not have much on it, which didn't make for very good research. But in general, it's just they're a company called Next Cask Finishes, and they focus on finishing whiskey in various different casks. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do something cool. But my guess is that this is not quite what they were hoping for when they put it in tequila barrels. But they already invested it, so may as well release it. I really wish I knew why they called it Bear Fight. I don't think I came across that at all. And I don't know. It strikes me as the kind of thing like with the Wild Turkey, where after the fact they're like, oh yeah, no, it was like about like they were out on a turkey hunt. You know, it's like, oh yeah, no, we named it this because I saw a bear fight something one time. I don't know. The whole thing's silly. You might be thinking of the right thing, caramel swirls. My understanding is that they're called multiple things. I believe I've seen them called cow's tails, the caramel with the white thing in the middle. So if you look up cowtail, you're either going to get something akin to a Slim Jim. That was me snapping into a Slim Jim. A Slim Jim with like cheese in the middle, or you're going to see the thing I'm talking about. I don't recall. All right, let's put the bear fight away. It's fine. It's not offensive. Oh, I should also mention, this is a $35 bourbon. So my expectations are kind of low, but you can see kind of why I didn't want to review this one on the channel. It's just like there was no information. I didn't have a high opinion of it. And although it's cheap, it's also not widely available. So like, what would be the point? And you'll probably see that same kind of thread among all of these. All right, so let's go on to my next one here. I'm in the mood to try a rye after tasting a little bit of rye in that one. And so I'm going to go to this Adnams Southward Rye Malt. This is a 47% rye. Non-chill filtered, which is cool. This is from England, which definitely intrigued me, and it says 7 years old. So there. Well, that sounded pretty good. There's quite a bit left in there. I must have only had this like once or twice. So it says Adams is a regional brewery and distillery founded in 1872 in Southwold, Suffolk, England. My brain wanted to keep making New England happen. We have a Suffolk, Massachusetts, I think, right near us. In 2010, they expanded to distilling spirits, including gin, vodka, and whiskey. Okay, so they've been in the game for about 15 years. Its mash bill is 75% rye, 25% malted barley. That's an interesting smell. This one actually smells more like tequila. That's really interesting. It definitely does smell like tequila a lot more than that one did. That's very strange. So this one's aged 7 years, but it's matured in French oak, which I'm guessing the French oak is probably what I'm smelling. I really love French and Hungarian oak. Whenever you can finish anything in either one of those, I'm usually a fan. So I'm interested to see how malted barley and rye work in this one. Now, if you remember, I did the Beyonce whiskey, which is back there. I actually shoved it in the corner. And that one was, I want to say it was 49% malted barley, 51% rye. So this is somewhat close. Not super close, but it's close enough. But we'll see. Oh, sorry. I should smell this and tell you what it smells like. Okay, other than the tequila smell that I think I was getting, vanilla, maybe a little peppery, actually. It's actually very, it smells a little bit like, I want to say like bleach or something like a cleaner, which would normally tell me it's a little young, but it's 7 years old. That should be okay. There's nothing about this that would actually make me think it wouldn't be very good, but let's try a sip. Cheers. It's a unique taste. I know my face said it was bad, and I'm not going to sway away from that, but I'm trying to think. Like, this one apparently is pretty well received, so I'm trying to think of what I'm missing here. The fact that it's unique would be good if I liked the taste, and maybe others would. For me, the taste here is, it's kind of like raisins and honey, rye, of course. The malt, I think, is either too much or not, or maybe it needs more age. You know, that might be part of it. The 25% malt at only 7 years might be offsetting the 7-year-old rye. Because a 7-year-old rye should be fine, but a 7-year-old malt would not be that great typically. So I don't know. The French oak might not be aggressive enough for what this needs to be either. Maybe they were trying to keep it delicate and bring out the flavors of the grain. I don't know that was a great choice. So we'll have to see. Oh, Spanky drinking Ardbeg 25. Oh, I'm so jealous right now. Oh, I've wanted to buy that for so long, and I keep putting it off. Now's a good time to bring up my single barrel picks. If anybody out there is interested in buying a single barrel pick, you can find the link at, I don't know if I put it in the description. It probably is down there. It would help me out a lot. So I'd love to be able to sell some more single barrels. So if you're interested, go check them out. I've lowered the prices pretty considerably. Trying to decide if this is growing on me or not. The initial hit of just the young rye flavor was... this is a weird one. Picture a young rye and a young single malt and mix them together, because there's definitely that like vegetal kind of grassy flavor that you'll get off of a young rye, but it's also mixed with something that just tastes overly malty to the point where it hasn't smoothed out at all. And both of those together, it just doesn't make a great taste to me. That being said, I don't know. Like, people from England have a very different flavor taste in food than I do. Excuse me. I mean, some of the best restaurants in the world are in England, but they're not English food. So, yeah, it says that it It won the World Whiskies Awards, which we all know was BS, but still. Best English Rye of 2021. I would love to know how many entries there were in Best English Rye. Like, couldn't have been more than 3. It has lovely aromas of warm vanilla, raisin fudge, and black peppercorns. I'm getting the raisins. I'm getting the vanilla. I'm not getting pepper, although maybe they're just pointing at the rye and calling it peppercorns. With a smooth, rich, and spicy palate. Not smooth, pretty rich, I'll be fair. And yeah, a little spicy, not crazy. Delicious on its own or in any classic whiskey cocktail. Okay, so that introduces an interesting thought. So I've mentioned this a couple times. I think I mentioned this on the year-end review that I did. I'm planning on doing this episode. I think I don't have my calendar open anymore, but it's going to be in a couple of weeks. And I'm calling it the Manhattan Project. And the idea is I'm going to take really as many Manhattans from as many different whiskeys as I can. And I'm going to just make them all. And I'm going to see which one is the best. And I think that would be really, really fun. I'm going to do it as an episode, though, because it might be something I have to do over the course of a day. But we'll have to see. I would be interested, though. So Manhattans, I believe, are traditionally made out of rye, but plenty of people make them from bourbons, and myself included. I usually make them with a bourbon. Do you have an opinion about whether they should be rye, should be bourbon, or can be either one? I'm going to do whatever the hell I want anyway, but I'm just curious what you all think. Let's see. Would you pick a 21? Oh, never mind. All right. I'm drinking High West Campfire tonight. Oh, that was one of my first, like, nicer whiskeys. Nicer, at this point, it's fine. I've had crazy stuff at this point, so it's a little tough to say, but not like Johnny Walker Black. Like, I think it was the double Campfire that I had. And I remember that was, that was the first time I ever really had something that tasted smoky, and realized very quickly that I really, really liked it. Yeah, I can't imagine that Ardbeg is cheap. All right, well, I ended up finishing this one, so that's not a bad sign. That's weird. Huh. It didn't count. Well, whatever. Well, the goal says 1 out of 5, but I will absolutely be counting 2 out of 5 because there were 2 donations. Okay. Well, this leaper or leper, I'm going to... Should I call it leper? No, I'm going to call it leaper. I don't know. How would you pronounce it? L-E-I. L-E-I-P-E-R. Leaper. I've been forgetting to put these little guys up. So Leaper's Fork Tennessee Whiskey Bottled in Bond is going to be my next one. So, as you can see, this is a... whoops. Oh, this is another question that came up while I was drinking the other day. So these little covers on the corks, do you guys keep these? I tend to keep them on the bottle if I can, but if they fall off, I throw them away. But it does make it harder to open them. Darkest Dungeon Leper. Let's see. All right. So depends on the vermouth you use. Some pair better with a sweet bourbon. Some pair better with a spicy rye. That's true. I use the Antica. I love that one. But it's very sweet. Probably also why I usually use a bourbon. I'm always of the persuasion that diminishing return. Okay, yeah. Okay. So Leaper's Fork Tennessee Whiskey. So this is the one I was talking about from Tennessee. This goes through the whole charcoal mellowing process as everything else does, the Lincoln County process. This is aged in new charred American oak, 50%, 4 years aged, 70 corn, 15 rye, 15 malt, and not really anything else significant. Oh, well, just because they're people doing kind of the right thing, and it's only been a few years. So this was founded by Lee and Lindley Kennedy in Franklin, Tennessee. They filled their first barrels in 2016. Now this this bottle is $80. So I'm gonna hold this one to a bit of a higher, level. Speaking of which, this one over here is like $50. So this one's $80. So it should be should be a hell of a whiskey for an American whiskey that's only 4 years old for $80. It's limited, so tack on a little bit of money for that. Let's see. Barrel type, New American Oak number 4. I wonder if that's char level. It probably is. That's it. All right. Nothing else special. Let's see how it noses. Ooh, a little aggressive. Well, 4 years might not be enough for this. That aggressiveness is kind of making me think of like coffee beans, actually. I mean, it definitely smells like alcohol. That's number one for sure, but it's like an unrefined alcohol. This is probably not going to taste fantastic. Apparently, I've drank half of this thing already. I just don't recall it very much. I think I must have drank it on a stream at some point. Maybe on one of the D&D streams or something. I'm just checking some stuff here. I don't know. I'm not sure what else I would put on this. It really has like nothing to the nose. I wouldn't even say it's like the vanilla caramel and, you know, butterscotch or oak or any of those things. Maybe like a little oaky. It's sweetening up a little bit. Almost to the, like a green apple thing. But man, I had to dig for that. All right, let's have a taste. Cheers. Ooh, I don't like the finish on that. Yeah. No, I don't like this one at all. How the heck did I drink half a bottle of this? Man, the finish on that kills. Like, I was starting to enjoy it. It opened up as like a little like chocolate and plums and some of that coffee. And then just immediately, like I'm going to have another sip of this because I want to be able to describe what the hell that was. But the finish on this is not pleasant. Ugh. Oof. I think it's trying to be smoke or like, you know, it's kind of like a charcoaly thing. Must be from the toasted barrel or the burnt barrel if it is number 4. So I think number 4 is alligator char. So what does that taste like? I know that's flavor. It's making me think like Mexican food. Almost like refried beans or something like that. That's a weird one. That's a really weird one. Yeah, my rare breed is almost empty. How can you see that one? Where is that? Oh, there it is. Wait. I recently moved a bunch of stuff, so I actually have no idea where it is. I know it's over here somewhere, but whatever. Yeah, I would not recommend this one. This must be why I decided not to do an episode on this. I would absolutely not recommend this. Now, here's what kills me is that if they've been doing this for about 10 years and they're trying to compete with Jack Daniels and like, first off, nobody's going to compete with Jack Daniels, right? So like, I'm sure they don't have their aspirations set that high, but they got to do better than this. There's so few Tennessee whiskeys out there. They've got to step up their game, age this a little longer. Yeah, no me gusta. I'm not even going to finish that one. All right. That one, honestly, that would be up there with like whiskeys that I absolutely just don't want to drink again. Not quite proper 12 or Black Velvet or Johnny Walker Red level, but just nothing I ever want to taste again. All right, let's do this Fraser Thompson, because Fraser Thompson is one that I actually feel a little bad that I never did an episode on it. Part of the reason is because whenever a person sends me a bottle, whenever a company sends me a bottle, I always tell them, I'm like, hey, I will get to this if I like it, or if I think it's something that my audience would be interested in. In fact, I actually have told people before, like, don't bother sending it, and then they've insisted. And I'm like, all right, I'll take free booze, but don't expect an episode. I've got a few bottles like that on my shelves, and I've been thinking about doing an episode on like whiskeys I just would not review. But I feel like that's a little negative, and I don't really like being negative unless I'm like trashing a specific whiskey in the moment. But I don't want to just plan a video about, hey, everybody, let me trash your brands. That just doesn't sound funny. I didn't. So I did Bear Fight. Yep. Charles. So that was actually the first one I did. Not terrible, not great, just kind of middle of the road. All right. So Fraser Thompson. This is a whiskey that Michael Bublé kind of funded or backed or is somehow involved with. What the hell did that do to my hand? It's like goo. Don't goo on me, please. All right. So, Fraser and Thompson is a whiskey label focused on blending and sourcing unique whiskeys from various regions to create distinctive offerings. Let's see. An episode about banned or forbidden whiskey is intriguing, like a Goosebumps story. Yeah, that would be cool if there were enough of those. Like, this whiskey is 70 years old because there's a curse on the barrel and nobody wants to take it out. Every time they sample it, they die. Something like that would actually be very cool. Minus all the death. All right, so Fraser Thompson, this one was released, as I said, Michael Bublé had something to do with this. It's only $30. And the funny thing is, so I want to say like their marketing team sucks. So on their website, it might not be there anymore, but I found it a while back when I decided not to do the episode. I think they were trying to be a little tongue in cheek or just like meta about something. They had a it was like a blurb trying to tell you about the whiskey, and what it read like was as if a manager had emailed the copywriter and said, like, first paragraph should be about this, and then the second paragraph should be all about how Michael Bublé is like this really nice guy and he's a sex symbol and blah 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 blah. And then the third one, just like remove this lorem ipsum and then replace it with something that is about this. And I saw that and I was like, okay, that's kind of funny, but like there's nothing on this website about your whiskey. So I found this one incredibly difficult to even write an episode on, which is part of the reason I didn't review it. Because a $30 whiskey, if it's any good, it could be really, really beneficial. A lot of people are looking for that price point, especially if it doesn't suck. Again, mellow corn back there. Oh, hold on. Mellow corn. If you've never tried it, it's like $17. It's not going to be the best thing you've ever had in your life, but boy, will it get you there. All right, so this one's 40%. There was no whiskey mash bill that I could find online. Focus on small batch releases, blending grain and malt whiskeys. Okay, so it's a blend. Typically aged in American and oak and potentially sherry or wine casks. Okay. All right, so whatever, $30. Oh, this was something I saw on the website too. I made a note of this because I wanted to say it. It says, share with people who don't typically like whiskey. Okay. I get what they're going for, but what an awful marketing strategy. Oh, and speaking of terrible marketing strategy, it's 92% Canadian and 8% Kentucky bourbon. So, which I suspect is from Heaven Hill, based off the fact that Heaven Hill, Canada, supplies the other 92. So, what do you typically, let's see. All right. If you guys are trying to get my attention, just tag me in the thing, because I keep looking over at the chat, and I love that you guys are chatting with each other. I just keep getting distracted. This is super good. Like the smell. It just smells like candied apples and very sweet. It smells like it's going to taste pretty good. All right, cheers. You know, I feel like I'm a little naive. I went into tonight knowing what I was going to review. I have a secondary shelf over there on the other end of the room that is all the bottles I have not done on the channel yet. And I also have about 20 other bottles over there that you guys are going to see shortly, which I'll talk about all that shortly as well. But I decided to pick this one. Probably because I was partially feeling bad taking a free product and not doing a video on it, but also just because I wanted to. And I'm realizing now why I drank a little bit of this and then put it on the shelf and didn't review it. The taste here is brutal. It's like, it's definitely a fake caramel flavor, different than the Bear Fight. It's got an awful aftertaste. Ugh. How would I even describe this? Okay, let's think butterscotch. Like, start with butterscotch, and then kind of add overcooked butter to it. Like, not brown butter, but like the butter where you forget that it was on the stove, and then you're like, oh crap, and you have to wash out the pan. Add that to it. Put some sprigs of rosemary into that. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Your Johnny Walker goal includes a countdown and a target total. Guess that's not happening then. Oh. I don't know. Oh, I guess it has a... I don't know. This is the first time I've ever done one of these. Whatever. If I get 3 more super chats, I'll drink Johnny Walker Red. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I didn't want to put it for an hour, which was my other choice, because then the stream would be over. So a half hour seemed worth it. But I don't know. Anytime you guys super chat, I'm always happy. It helps a lot. Okay, so why did I just take another sip of that? It's awful. It's terrible. Don't buy the Fraser and Thompson even for $30. Hold on. I'm a fool and left my water out of reach. All right, so before I have the other two, the Keeper's Heart and the Floki, and I'll be having the Keeper's Heart first. I actually know nothing really other than the notes I took for the episode, or for the stream, on the Keeper's Heart, except that it's American and Irish, and I do like both of those things, so should be okay. Let me tell you guys about the, I guess, schedule. So I have my 10-year anniversary of the channel coming up middle of March, I think March 16th, which is a Saturday, and I am planning on doing like kind of a big live stream episode. I'm going to kind of plan the whole thing out. I don't know if it's going to be like 2 hours or maybe 3. I'm going to aim for 2 because I think that would just be fun. But if I have enough stuff to do, then I might do more. I'm going to have a bunch of giveaways because I've got a bunch of stuff. I'm kind of like cleaning house, you know, like 10 years I've accumulated a lot of things. I have like a lot of Aged in Ore products that they sent me for free. I have more Aged in Ore products. I have some like icicle glasses. I have a bamboo thing, a bunch of stuff, and I'd like to just get rid of some of this stuff. So I might do a lot of... Oh, I have an Aged in Ore, one of those bottle caddies, which are really, really cool. Anyway, so I'm going to give away a lot of this stuff, and I want to maybe like have some people on the channel and just do a whole bunch of like really fun stuff for the 10-year anniversary. But because of that, I kind of like between that and the beginning of the year, like that resolution concept of like really feeling motivated, you probably have already noticed this. I put in an episode last Friday. I did one on Sunday. I am doing a live stream tonight. I have a short coming out tomorrow, and I have another episode on Friday, and I'm going to keep that pattern until my 10-year anniversary. I'm sure that is not something I can keep up, but I would like to keep that up for as long as middle of March, and I've already planned out all of that content. So there's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe 10, 8 or 10 more actual whiskey reviews, and so every Friday is going to be like an informational or like a guide style of thing. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. is going to be a live stream. Wednesdays are going to be shorts, and then Sundays are going to be whiskey reviews. So four things from me every week. Heck of a lot more than I used to do. All right. Okay, cool. Let's go into this Keeper's Heart. I'm very excited about this. I've actually been spending a lot of time here in the basement. Oh, that's right. I just opened this today. I haven't actually tried this yet. So I'm really excited about all the extra content. I hope you all enjoy it. All right. So let's learn about Keeper's Heart. So this is an Irish and American. Let's see. It's produced by O'Shaughnessy Distilling Co., based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Not what I was expecting. With a focus on blending Irish and American whiskey traditions. Let's see. Keeper's Heart combines the smooth character of Irish whiskey and the bold flavors of American whiskey. Crafted blah, blah, blah. It's a blend of Irish pot still whiskey, Irish grain whiskey, and American rye whiskey. That's what I was looking for. That's interesting that they chose American rye. It's 43%. Uh-oh. It doesn't smell very good. So, Steve, before I have anything about this or try it or anything, thank you for the bottle. I apologize if I don't like it. I think I know you well enough that you wouldn't give me a bottle that you didn't like yourself. So, we'll see. So this is about a $30 bottle. It's the distiller behind this was formerly the master distiller for Jameson, Redbreast, and other iconic Irish brands. Okay, that's promising. And it's aged in American oak and ex-bourbon barrels. Okay, all right, let's just try this. So the nose smells a lot just like the, I want to say, no. Huh. The nose on all of those has changed. Probably because I finished it. The nose smells, I think it was the Adnams, where I said it was like a cleaning supplies or something. It's just a very sharp, kind of very bright smell. In this case, it's definitely the rye giving me that flavor, though. You know what it smells like? It smells a little bit like ginger, which would explain all of those things I just mentioned. So I'm going to go with ginger. I actually like that as a nosing profile here. Maybe a little lemon. Yeah, I like that. Ginger, lemon, just younger style of rye. All right, let's try a sip of this. Yeah, this is well, whatever. Cheers. Okay. That would definitely wake you up. It's not bad. It's very bready. It must be the rye. A little grainy. Yeah, not bad though. It's the alcohol is 43%. I would say this was closer to like 47, 48 just by the way it feels. I don't know. I wish it didn't have the rye in it. I wish maybe they had done it with a bourbon instead. I think the pot still mixed with the rye is not the best blend, or at least not in this. But the more I let this sit in my mouth, it is very distinctly an American rye. It tastes like chocolate, like fudge almost, and it's very heavy. The pot still is getting lost. I'm not even getting necessarily that pot still spice that I always really enjoy. I'm going to let that sit for just a sec and check out the chat here. Keeper's Heart does a bourbon and Irish too, among other things. It's all priced decent and tastes decent from what I've heard. I would agree with all of that, just decent. The price of $30 is definitely worth... Actually, I don't know what I think. It's too hard to put myself in the mentality of somebody who's never tried whiskey before. Because if I saw a $30 bottle that looked like this, I might pick it up. Thinking, oh, well, it's better than something I've heard of. Maybe let me be a little bit of a snob and try something nobody else has heard of. And then if I tasted this as my first whiskey, I don't think I would like whiskey. So I would be inclined to try the bourbon instead. That being said, it's so weird. It's American rye. I wish, if anybody out there is interested or if they know, I would love to know where the rye comes from. That might tell me a little bit about this, because it's a very heavy rye. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, Spencer's saying that the bourbon one's a little better. It's just Yeah. Okay, let's move on from this one. This one's not not a keeper. All right, sorry. All right, now for Floki. So Floki, Icelandic single malt. All right, so Floki is, I liked this one actually a little bit. I'm going to read this. So there was sorry, this one. Oh, I meant to talk about this. Just in case you guys care, this is how it breaks up. Keeper's Heart single cask are the best. The regular ones are meh. Okay. My first real bottle was Lagavulin 16. If you liked it, then that was a great place to start. If you didn't, I'm shocked that you're still drinking whiskey. I do think, like, just that unique perspective I have from running this channel for so long, I can't tell you the amount of comments, just like it must be in the thousands at this point, of people telling me that they didn't like whiskey because their first whiskey that they had was way too smoky or, peaty or whatever. And then they were just like, oh, but I tried it again, or I found your channel and you talked to me, blah, 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 and now I drink bourbon. And it just sucks because I'm like, well, why'd you ever try? So I understand why, because how do you know? But it sucks. Like, I wish that I could grab people by the hands. Not that one. So anyway, okay. So Floki in 868. Holy crap. In 868, a Viking ship sailed from Norway searching for a fabled island in the North Atlantic Sea. Their courageous leader was Floki, called, I'm going to butcher this, Hrafna Floki. Whoops, not that one. This guy. It's a real statue. Because of the 3 ravens he carried with him. Those ravens led him to an island he named Iceland, where he became the first known settler. In his honor, this whiskey carries the name Floki. Cool. I mean, that's cool. If there's something to name your whiskey after, that's not a bad one. Let's see. So these are all Icelandic words. I'm going to do them wrong. Eimverk Distillery, located in Garobayer. Garobayer. I don't know. It feels like I want to just make a, do the, an impression of the voice, not the word. I don't know. Iceland is a family-owned distillery dedicated to producing premium Icelandic spirits using 100% local ingredients. That was something I liked. They used 100% local Icelandic barley. And for somebody in Iceland, where it's not a huge whiskey scene, I would absolutely not blame them. Well, I probably would, but I would understand if they imported their barley from Scotland or anywhere else. But they're growing it themselves, so why not? They've been around since 2009. It's Iceland's first single malt, which is pretty cool. And 47% for this one. Now, this was a special release. It says limited first edition of the Floki single malt. So that's what it was. I've had this for probably 2 years at this point. So it's been a little while. Oh yeah, that's a different smell. Wow, that's different. Okay, give me a sec. So many of you might know Floki is most well known for, they did an expression that was the same way that you would use peat to stop the germination process by heating up and whatever. They use sheep dung for that, and people say that you could absolutely taste that in the whiskey. I have never had the honor of trying that whiskey, but when they sent me this, I actually thought that's what they were sending me. So I think I might have reached out to another Icelandic one, because I think the northernmost distillery in the world is in Iceland, but it's not this one. And I had reached out to them to just be like, hey, I'd love to feature you guys on the channel. It's a cool concept, blah, blah, blah. They never got back to me, which, whatever, that's fine. But then these guys reached out weeks later, and I think I told them, I was like, oh, that's so funny. I was just looking at Iceland. And they were like, oh, this is great. Let me send you some stuff. So anyway, Floki. All right, so this was bottled in 2020, but I have not had this since 2020. Okay, this is interesting. So the flavor, or sorry, the nose is very powerful. It is sweet but also malty. man, I have no idea how to describe this flavor. I keep saying flavor. This smell. It's a little bit of the ocean. It's just a whole lot of something green. It's very sweet, but like nice. I really can't do it justice. I don't know anything else that smells like this that I could compare it to. I don't know. Icelandic barley. It smells like Icelandic barley. Cheers. Ooh. That's a weird finish. Sorry, I know I'm taking a while on this one. This is a tough one. All right, let's start with some easies. Vanilla, nutmeg, honey. There's something reminiscent of the Signet here for me, and I'm thinking it's just like a overly toasted barley. I don't know what the hell this flavor is. I'm sorry, I would otherwise be more prepared, but I actually had this a little earlier too, and I was hoping I would have a better idea when I was on stream, but I just didn't. Oh, wait, I think I'm getting something here. Hold on. It's almost like it would be like burning pine needles. Toasting pine needles, because it's not smoke, but it's a very pine, like, what's that, sappy. Yeah, it tastes a little bit like pine sap. Wow, that took a while to get there, but I'm very confident in that note. That's weird. I totally agree with you, Alex. Signet is the best thing that Glenmorangie makes by a mile. Yeah, I won't say by a country mile because I'm not a hick. Let's see. Pine or juniper berries. Maybe I thought about juniper berries because like gin came to mind, so maybe. But I'm definitely leaning towards pine here. Specifically like the way the sap smells on your hand when you're just like, oh shit, I got pine sap on my hand. Darth Rio, is your wife single? I could use her around Christmas time. Well, this one's the best of the night. The bear fight. So actually, yeah, let's kind of do this. So bear fight was fine, but like not very impressive. Floki was my favorite for sure. The Adnams or Adnams, I don't know, that's a weird name. Adnams, I didn't love it, but it was still like not offensive. The Leaper's Fork, this would be like the worst one by far tonight. That way. Keeper's Heart, probably over here. And then Fraser Thompson, I don't know, I'd probably match that with the Keeper's Heart. But if I had to choose, I'd put it right behind it. Yeah, not bad, not bad. There's a reason that these have all been in the backlog, and as I mentioned, it's just they're not worth gushing over on a video. I mean, a video takes me like 8 hours to make. It's not something I want to spend 8 hours doing. Anyway, so let's see. So it's 8:52. I don't see any reason to keep this going that much longer. But I do just want to remind everybody. Oh, actually, yes. So let me do this real quick. I'm going to grab this image because I want to I should have thought to do this earlier, but I didn't, but that's okay. So this is going to be my live stream next week. Oh, it's copying right now. So this is going to be my live stream next week. Flavor Palette Roulette. I thought this would be a lot of fun to get. I have, I think it's 14 different items that I'm going to be picking at random on this guy right here. So I won't show you that too long. We're going to pick those and we're going to match them with some whiskeys. So I'm going to put a thing in the Patreon this week, probably maybe tomorrow, just to ask you guys which whiskeys I should add. And I'm going to probably ask, I'm not going to drink 14, but I'm probably going to ask for 14 whiskeys from my collection. 7 of them good, 7 of them bad. And I will tell you, definitely the Johnny Walker Red will be one of them. I'd rather not put Proper 12 and Black Velvet on there, but if they get voted on, then so be it. That being said, that's going to be my episode next week. I'm very excited for that one. I think it'll be a whole lot of fun. I put 7 really terrible flavors and 7 really good flavors, things that are really good to pair with whiskey and things that would undeniably be terrible to pair with whiskey, like Flaming Hot Cheetos. So, anyway, so I hope that you guys can all join me next week on Tuesday. I think that one will be a lot of fun. And I want to thank you all for joining me here. I put together a little something fun for the outro, so if you want to stick around and listen to that, it should be a couple minutes, and I think you'll enjoy it. Cheers, everybody. Have a good rest of your night.
Bill the Whiskey Dick sang a tune so stout, live stream ended, we're out and about. Whiskey bottles empty, cheer and shout. He drank it all, no room for doubt. Raising glasses high, we toast the night. Golden liquid dancing in the light. Bill the hero of our boozy plight. He drank for us and won the fight. In the pub where laughter roams so free, we gather round and sing in harmony. Whiskey flowed like an endless sea. Bill the Whiskey Dick, our history. Oh, the tales he told and stories spun. Every sip a battle, every shot a ton. In his eyes the spark of moon and sun. Bill the fearless, his night begun. Raising glasses high, we toast the night. Golden liquid dancing in the light. Bill the hero of our boozy plight. He drank for us and won the fight. So here's to Bill, the legend of the hour, who faced the whiskey wielding all its power. In his name our voices louder tower. Bill the Whiskey Dick, our finest flower. Raising glasses high, we toast the night. Golden liquid dancing in the light. Bill the hero